Another big issue going on in the city right now is education. A lot of controversy about the appointments to the Board of Education made by Mayor Segura. The council kind of stepped up and I think did what the council's supposed to do by opening it up to the public, letting them know why these choices were made, and having the people explain why they were the right choice, or they are the right choices to be appointed to the Board of Education. I know Stan has some definite feelings about that. That's, you know, we invited you here today. Hyacinth, you're a big education person as far as being involved.
I was pleased with the discussion they had on, what is it, Thursday? Last week?
Yeah, last Thursday they had a they had a committee of the whole in a hearing, the confirmation hearings.
Right. And as I said, I'm very impressed. And you may think in the charter, the mayor does have the right to appoint himself to the board, doesn't he?
Yeah.
The mayor has.
I'm just saying. I'm just
Well, let me
putting a point
just say
out
the
there.
answer.
Yeah.
The mayor has the right to appoint. It's not a right by charter.
By charter.
He is tasked with appointing 5 people to the Board of Education.
Okay.
Now, who those people? He could appoint Mickey Mouse.
Okay.
The charter gives him that right. You know?
Right, but does he?
It gives him the right to appoint Astro Boy and Donald
But
Duck.
does the charter give him the right to appoint himself?
It doesn't give him any more right to appoint himself
It
than
doesn't say he
Donald
can't.
Duck.
Okay.
It doesn't say
He
can't
may
do it.
appoint
Okay.
whoever he wants. He has
So again, this is going to be interesting because we need to look seriously at the charter. You know,
But Hyacinth, what's interesting here is that last week I took a position, you know, wasn't a nail-shut position on perhaps why the mayor appointed himself. And I had this discussion privately with Stan, and Stan has a completely different view of it. And, you know, I kind of agree with Stan. He's certainly not wrong, but I just had an opinion. And Stan, you're going to comment on that today,
Let's
right?
just say, we are taking phone calls. For anybody that has the phone number still stays the same, 860-524-8920. That's 860-524-8920. If you have an opinion on this, and I'm sure I know one person has an opinion, they'll be calling us in a minute, but anybody out there that has an opinion on the Board of Education, charter, how the appointments are done, feel free to give us a call.
I think Cologne and what's her name, McIntyre. The lady's name is McIntyre.
doctor. She's PhD.
Okay, all right. And Poland, Waring. I'm not sure about Waring, but I feel like Matt Poland has a lot of experience around budget stuff, and I feel he's qualified to do maybe chair the board.
I was kind of impressed with all the, and I didn't watch the entire thing. Dr.
Cologne, yes, he's got.
Very impressed by his expertise and his knowledge.
Yes, and
He used to be a principal
at Hartford High, and I worked with him. He's very.
But the problem there is, a lot of people are questioning whether there's a conflict of interest in his city job and the funds he deals with and programs they have at the Board of Education. Is there a conflict of interest there? And that's the other issue I have, and we saw, Mayor Perez was a master at this. He put people into positions that he knew were beholding to him, whether it was the town committee, his appointees to the Board of Education, and I'm not sure if Mayor Segura will do it, but to have that leverage over somebody that you're also their boss in the job that they make their livelihood from, are they going to cross you and say, no, I don't agree with that position, I don't agree with the direction you're going in, we should take a look, and if they vote against a position the mayor has, how much pressure is put on them? I think it's a type of thing where people should be free to make their own decisions, use their own judgment, without any fear of reprisals. And I'm not saying that Mayor Segura would do that, but the potential is there.
But I'm feeling confident that they will do the right thing for our children. And the point is, and I have to say, the next 2 years there will be an election for 4 people, and any one of us can
But that's
decide.
another big issue, though. Why bother having the election if the majority is
Already.
already controlled by the mayor?
But that's because the
That's
charter
something-
says that.
But that's something that needs to be
and
looked
that
at
needs
through
to be
charter
looked at
revision.
during the charter.
It makes no, I can see give the mayor 1, 2, maybe 3 appointments, but why give him the majority?
Let Stan comment on this.
I like the mayor having 5 appointees. 5 is 1 plus 1 that gives him the majority. If the appointees are individuals that are qualified for the job and have the ear of the mayor and are free to do what they believe is best, like your Supreme Court nominees and then, justices, then it's very easy to sway 1 or 2 of them by the minority that represents the general population as a whole. I like all of the people. I mean, obviously, everyone is exceedingly qualified, including the lone Republican there. And I think that they would all do well in their service. I have a very big problem with Matt, and I have a big problem with the former principal of Hartford High. Not because of their quality. If you ask me, they're eminently qualified. If it was up to me, the former principal of Hartford High would serve as the board chair, and more than likely will wind up being board chair. But
It's the
they
connections
work
back to City Hall.
for the mayor at the city, and they work at the discretion of the mayor. The family and children guy. Matt, of course, is over at the library. And there's severe conflict of interest. If you're trying to tell me that out of a city of 120,000, you can't find 100 people willing to serve, 5 of them? You can't find 5 people in this city?
Again, it goes back to your comfort level. Who do you feel you can trust to do?
And elections have consequences. And therefore, despite my misgivings about the 4, the mayor should have the right to choose, select, and appoint whoever he wants. At that point, it becomes the job of the city council to confirm, and that the city council has to confirm. If they have a problem, then the confirmation doesn't go through. And I think this should be between the representatives of the people, the elected body on the legislative side, and the elected individual on the municipal side. My problem is with him appointing himself.
Okay.
Now,
See, that's the greater issue to me.
That's the big elephant in the room. Forget the others.
Okay.
Whatever the issue is with them, the mayor should be able to, whoever he appoints, in my never to be humble opinion, the mayor should be able to get on the phone, cuss him out. I don't care how he takes care of business. This is the policy. Get behind it. That's why I put you there. Think of what's best for the city and the children. But we all know this is not about the children. It's about the money. And that's the bottom line.
The money.
Right, and everyone who's coming out front and just saying it, this has nothing to do with education. Nothing. Nothing. The mayor should not be sitting on that council. He needs to be focusing on economic development and the things that are under his charge. That's why there's a separation.
As you
Hold
say,
on, Tyson.
the council will decide who they want to be there.
Well, I don't have a problem with that.
Stan,
Jerry, what's your point?
Okay, hold on.
I don't think the mayor should be there, and I'm going to lobby the council
Stan,
to
some people may argue, and they have already said it, that by having the mayor there, there'd be better control of Board of Education expenditures.
I disagree with that, though. I disagree.
That's flawed thinking, and if you believe that, I got lease rights for the Brooklyn Bridge.
No, but the other...
And there's big money to be made there.
Right, and you're saying that the mayor has the right to do.
No.
did
That
do-
is not what I said. I said elections have consequences, and the mayor gets to choose his appointees. When you're given appointment authority by a legislative body, the intent is not that you're going to appoint yourself. It's an axiomatic, self-evident truth that by most logical thinking should not have to be written into the legislation.
It's like throughout life, we have the
Then
right
we
to
need
do a lot of
Then we need to
things.
go over the charter and fix that. so that doesn't happen.
Or we should take the mayor at his word when he said he wouldn't appoint himself to the board. What
I'm not sure
else
if he
can we
ever
go
said
with?
that.
He
I
didn't
think he
say
said
that.
he wouldn't appoint
Put
himself to
himself
be chairperson.
Right.
No,
But-
he on
Do we have a
Jeff
transcript?
Cohen's,
Do
on
we
Jeff
have-
Cohen's show, he alluded that he might sit for 6 months or so.
Nah.
So
Well, that
he
sounds
could
like the
get a-
Republican town chair who said he
Right,
would only
right.
sit for a few
He
months to
also
get him
said
in
he wasn't
shape.
going to run for mayor.
I am hoping he
So
doesn't.
what he says is suspect
Yes.
in my mind. Now, if the logic is he appoints himself to the board so that he can better have control of the money, his position on the board doesn't give him control. The board is not a singular individual. The board is a collective of minds that give back and forth. There's only one way to have control of the money sitting on that board, and that's to be the chair so that you can control the agenda. So the logical next step will be, well, you know what? I didn't want to do this, but I was convicted and compelled because of the necessity of education in our city and for the children. And I didn't want to do it, but my friends got me in the corner and said, you know what, Mr. Mayor? We think you should be the chair.
Well, I think that's another issue that, do one thing and do it well. If you're going to be the mayor, appoint 5 people that will report back to you.
Right.
Know your mindset, know what you expect. You don't have to immerse yourself into the Board of Education. We've got far more problems that are going to come before July 1st in our new budget that need the everyday focus. The Board of Education, and also what's wrong with making sure that the superintendent is hiring people that report properly
Right.
and oversee the money. I don't think the mayor needs to be sitting in the chair at the Board of Education to make sure the money is spent properly. It starts with the tone from the top. Let's start controlling city spending and then worry about the Board of Education controlling themselves. The mayor cannot be everything to everyone.
Right.
But what do you think about the way the council has handled this? I think a year or two ago, we would have never seen this. It would have been rubber stamp, done, whether it was Mayor Perez, Mayor Segura. Those appointments would have been a done deal, no questions asked, have a nice day.
I have been publicly critical of Sean Wooden, Attorney Sean Wooden. I'm on record, I'm on Facebook, I'm on YouTube being critical of him. I called and left a message saying that if this is a sign of things to come, then Godspeed, because I think it is his leadership and his commitment that is moving this thing forward. You see, what people say and what they do are two different things. What he has said has given me suspect. What I see him doing is encouraging. Because at the end of the day, what you do is what matters.
Yeah.
Now, if he's talking open and transparent, well, that's what he's delivering. Open, transparent.
But-
He's been sitting down with people, whether they agree with him or not, to seek their counsel. And you see him putting out, and this is because of, in my opinion, there might be some other forces, but at the end of the day, it's because of President Wooden. I think if the president would have been Ken Kennedy, you would not have this.
And if the
But I
council
said-
president had obeyed the memo he got from the mayor's office, this would have been voted on and ratified last Monday night.
Right.
And I think the one thing this council needs to do, and Sean Wooden called me last week and wanted to sit down and talk. We did that Friday night. 4.5 hours later, we left. We went out for dinner, and I'm sure this is no big secret because there were more than enough people that the word was probably spreading like wildfire. Hey,
This is Hartford.
Brookmen and Wooden were in the back of a restaurant for 4 hours talking. So I got a much better feeling for Sean, or for the council president, of where he's coming from. Definitely, I would say he has a much larger agenda for other offices. And I don't
There's
think
nothing
that's
wrong
not
with
a
that.
secret to anyone.
Right,
There's
there's
nothing
nothing wrong
wrong
with
with, it's like us. Do we want the old blue curtain behind us, or do we want to rise up and, to greater expectations? So there's nothing wrong with that. But I also got a much better feeling about him and how he's going to get things done, his sense of democracy, his sense of fairness. And I'm not going to go into a lot of the things we discussed, but why he dropped out of the mayor's race, how that came about. And he knew I was very disappointed about that, as were a lot of people. Because
But Kevin, I've said from the beginning that I was a strong supporter of Wooden.
You
And
were.
Stan-
Yeah,
and
I've had heated arguments with my friends. But, I publicly am saying, if what I have seen out of the gate continues, then I'm glad he's the council president. Because it's going to take a mature council to stand up to the power of our chief elected official. As the current mayor said, the council is not a advisory group that, you know, kind of
We may listen to you, we may not.
listen to you
And
when
that's
we
one of the
want
things
to.
we talked about.
Right.
I told him,
And the Board of Ed will say, we are policymakers, we don't make decisions what goes on in the school
Now,
system.
the Board of Ed is separated from the municipal side so that as best as can be accomplished, you keep the municipal politics out of. Now, it's hard to keep politics in Hartford out of anything, because every decision in Hartford is a political decision. But can you imagine what it would be like if the mayor controlled the Board of Ed agenda as well?
well, he technically
It's
does,
not.
but I think, you know, the one thing this council, and we haven't seen it in councils in the past, we haven't seen it from the previous 2 or 3 presidents, one of them who eventually became mayor. And I've used this line before, but I think it's crucial. We changed our charter to strong mayor, but we didn't relegate to a weak council.
That is
The
right.
council has plenty of power that they need to step up, and this is just one thing that the council just showed.
And I think they're using
But-
it.
but-
And the
Yeah.
good
They,
thing
they,
was-
they, they are using
the
it.
good thing that
But
they
it-
went to
it's
the retreat
because-
to
Because
understand
it
what the
wouldn't.
charter
I
means.
don't think the retreat had anything to do with it.
You don't think?
No.
It's
No.
because
The-
one person is showing leadership,
Right.
and the others are expected to either plead your case why we should do it a different way, or follow the leadership that's being provided to you. And that maturity doesn't come with someone that, you know, because you've been on the council 8 or 10 years and have been part of a puppet administration. It becomes because you have integrity, you know how to get things done, and you're willing to try something different.
And you're listening to what the people say.
And trust me, they got phone calls.
Because
Right,
I think if they weren't listening, and because, you know, this is what we talked about every council meeting. Are you guys listening to what we're saying? We know what's going on. Why aren't you changing things? So I'm hoping.
And it would appear that we do now have a and because that's what the city council is there for, to be the, you know, to touch base with the constituents. The mayor's there for a totally different purpose. His job is to put into play all of these policies and to run the city efficiently. If you don't have a check and balance, he'll get out of control, or it could be the other way around, where he becomes a puppet of the council. There has to be give and take.
Right.
There has to be give and take. And I think, you know, you mentioned the retreat. I think that the retreat probably didn't go as well as some would have expected it to, because you had this little transparent open hearing. If it was up to the powers to be, this hearing would have never happened. The retreat was meant to get everybody on board. There's a grand plan. You all need to come on board and follow it, and we're going to move the city forward. Well, the city is not other people's playground. The city is where we live.
Okay,
And they
but-
work for us.
Good.
But-
So we need to continue to hold them accountable. So the more people
That's why
that get out of their homes,
that's
that
why
get
we're
out to
here.
City Hall
That's
or
exactly
go to
what we're doing
co-op
here. Make the phone
and make
calls.
those phone calls and go
Right.
there and let them know what they're doing wrong when they're doing it wrong.
And let them know when they're doing it right, too. We
Yeah.
have
Right.
to let them know when they're
Yeah.
doing it right.
But, yeah, vice versa. But the point
They
is
do
that
it wrong
they
more than they
need
do
to
it right,
hear-
but we need to let them know when they do good things.
Yeah, they need to hear more from the people of the city that elects them.
Well, you know what? You know, 80% of most people's aspirations in life is to go to work and come home.
I know.
Have a beer or coffee, watch the game, chill, and get ready for work the next day. They're not out there trying to do anything. You got 10% at the top, you got the 10% at the bottom that make this thing here. And the 10% at the top are fighting for all of what's going to happen. And some of that 10% are crazy power mongers, this, that, and other thing. And there's like a percent of a percent in that 10%, like us, who want things to work right. And if we keep our mouths shut, those folk will run away with the farm. Most people aren't going to call in because they don't. They
But they
just
almost
want
think
things
in
to
some
really
cases,
work. You know.
they may think that what they're doing is right until they see a different perspective pointed out to them. So that's why
Right.
it's also
Right.
important for people to call or go to council meetings.
Right.
Let them know what you think. And, you know, if you're living in a vacuum and don't hear what people are saying, and I know the council president is hearing what people are saying. There were plenty of people that came up to our table. He's very recognizable, I guess, which I was surprised. People would come up and tell him, you know, you got to do this, you got to do that. I want to talk to you about this. I want to talk to you about that. And all the people that were giving him advice, oh, you should be doing this. I said, Sean, you're what, 25, 26 days into this position? Make it your own, do what you got to do.
Grow into it.
Listen to the advice, and some of it will make sense, some of it won't.
Yeah.
But nobody can be there telling you what to do. So I think we're off to a good start. I'm optimistic about the council. Just the fact that the way the council president was elected was not foreseen by most of the power brokers. They thought they had anointed their president already, and that's the way it was going to be. But we also see it a lot in the town committee races. There are people that are stirring things up so much that we never heard of primaries and the things that are going on town committee. Now, the 7th district where I live, there's 3 different challenge slates.
And this is
But
great.
that's not only the 7th
That is
district.
perfect.
This is great.
The
This is what democracy is supposed to be about.
And in the 6th, we have a race.
And the
which
more
I-
people
the
wear,
4th.
Right.
it's just the only district in the city that doesn't is the 1st, the West End. The 6th, where you live, the Deep South End, there's 2 challenge slates.
4th.
The 4th district has, and this is on the Democratic primary side, the Democratic
Right.
Town Committee. The Republicans are trying to exhume bodies to get them to be on the town committee. But on the Democratic side, there's real challenges going on. And some of those slates I'm very excited about. It's a lot of change that needs to come about. Now it's up to the voters to get out and
Right, and we
make
gotta
that
encourage
change.
them to go out and vote.
On your slate, you've got mostly
Some
all
good people.
all new people, a couple of young people that I'm very excited about seeing them get involved. One of them just started coming to your meetings recently.
Yes, young
His
man.
family has a long history in the city, but he's gotten the bug for politics now.
know.
So he's out there. He wants to learn everything he can about politics, how the system works. And that was somebody that I actually started bringing along when I was running for the council. So I'm very excited to see him getting involved. You're back on the slate in the 6th, which you were kind of forced off years ago because you weren't a game player with the Perez administration. In the 7th district, I'm running on a slate with State Representative McCauley, former State Rep Ken Green, and I have to say several young people now that I really don't even know, that I'm excited about the different mindset, and they're not the usual, and I'll get in trouble for saying this and stereotyping, but they're not the usual town committee we've seen, like, what am I going to get? I want that contract for myself.
Yes.
My brother-in-law needs a job at City Hall. You want my support? You give him a job.
Yeah, the good
These are
thing-
people that love this city
Yeah, the
and
good-
want to make it a better place,
The
not
good
what
thing-
they're going to get out of
The
it.
good thing about our slate is these are business people of there. They have no connection with anyone in City Hall trying to get something.
They want to
They wanna
see
change.
what's happening. And your town committee is very, very important because the town committee are the individuals that interview candidates that are going to run for office, that are going to represent you.
And they're supposed to
so-
have your best interests at heart. That's
Right.
not the case now.
Right.
but
Well,
hopefully it'll change
no.
to become that.
Right, but you want town committee people who have a feel for democracy and for what's best for the city,
Right.
not
the
the best,
individual.
not what's best for the city being secondary to what they get for
To their
themselves.
self-interest.
Right.
Yeah.
Because that's what the town committee has
Because I told-
devolved to.
Right, and I've told my group, I said, if you're going to this for a handout, please, there's no handout. You got to work, improve what's going on in our neighborhood. We haven't gotten any real project in our neighborhood for over how many years because, I was being squashed and nothing was going to happen.
Yep.
So again, we need people who are honest, not out there just, okay, yeah, I get involved because, yeah, I have something to get. We want to improve our neighborhood.
Well, and even the
we
more
wanna see-
important part, nothing wrong with having older people on there that have been around, know the process, and hopefully have good intentions. But I'm excited seeing the number of younger people. And I don't mean myself, because I don't consider myself young anymore. But when you see people, mid-20s, 30s, that want to make Hartford their home, want to raise their kids
We need
here,
to give them the
want to be
chance.
here, and they know that they can make a difference in the
You see,
city.
the important thing is that we have to encourage them to get involved.
Yeah.
Well,
And that's-
they're getting involved, and I believe they're encouraged.
think
They just have to just keep they have to keep forging ahead.
Right.
I wanted to publicly, like an open letter, I wanted to publicly implore the city council members to approve the mayor's picks with the exception of the mayor. And I have problems. I have problems with his picks, but I'm not the mayor. He is. And that's his, that he should be able to pick who he wants, but he should not be able to appoint himself. And there is no rationale for it. I will debate anybody on that subject anytime, anywhere.
And on Thursday, they'll be doing the voting, right? Thursday?
Thursday they will be doing the voting.
Right, right.
I agree with you. I don't think there's much that's going to change with it now. You know, people in those positions hardly ever backtrack when they realize they're wrong. They'll just go on that path until it's proven that they're wrong. And that's unfortunate. I think, you know, the same thing as with Mayor Perez. I don't think Mayor Segura has the best advisors around him telling him what makes sense. And sometimes you have to have people that will say, put the brakes on here. Let's rethink this.
But sometimes some
And-
people don't want to hear the truth.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
You have to
But
have...
you tell it as it is, though.
Yeah, but
You
on
know?
your advisory team, there has to be someone who constantly disagrees with you, just
Exactly.
for the sake of balance.
Yes.
Just for balance.
Those people are called unemployed.
In Hartford,
In Hartford, there would be unemployed.
how dare you disagree with us? You know.
Yeah, we choose you because you will agree with us.
Right.
But you know, the point is that the state of our education, something needs to happen drastically, because even though we have superintendent that says, oh yeah, everything looks good, and it's only looking
Well,
good on paper, but in reality, it's not good.
See, now you're taking us in a whole different
Right.
direction. This is
That's another show for another day. I was publicly supportive of Tim Sullivan for superintendent
Me
of schools.
too.
He would have been the best choice, but once again,
Politics got in the
Hartford.
way.
So, you know, do we want a school system that's going to best serve the young people of the city, or do we want a school system that's going to best serve the long-range goals of gentrifying the city and making it ready for folks that don't live here now?